Okay, welcome to day 38, Exodus 20 through 22. This is February 7th. So, we kind of get into a few special things, and I'm always happy when we have a few special things because it's not just what you're reading, and I kind of want to give you a little extra. So, we're kind of getting into some things, rules, laws, and they can start to get a little out of control. There were so many things, and we're going to get into that when we get into Deuteronomy and Numbers, which is fairly soon. So for right now, I just want to show you that we are starting the beginning. We talked about the Ten Commandments, and in where we're starting today, we get the Ten Commandments in chapter 20. There's only one God. Don't commit there's only one God. Don't worship any idols. Don't use the name of the Lord's name in vain, and obey your mom and dad. Don't work on Sunday. Don't kill. Don't commit adultery. Don't steal. Don't lie. Don't want what other people have. Whoop-de-doo, I can recite those somewhat. There is so much in each of those. That's a whole Bible study on its own. But here's what I want to get for you as we progress here. This is everything. The Ten Commandments really are everything, and that's what our justice system is based on. And then it goes from here on into everything else. So that's the Ten Commandments. I don't need to read through all of those. I want to talk about God's unfailing love. I want you to start a list, and I will start it as well, of words that describe God and His attributes. Unfailing love. You should start this list. Now, I have other lists that we started. Moses has, 14, 15 miracles that he did. He's not done doing wonderful things. God through him. Remember that. It's not us that do any miracles. It's God through us. So, God's unfailing love, chapter 20, verse 6. This was in the middle, or right at the beginning of the Ten Commandments, in between commandment number 2 and 3. But I lavish unfailing love for 1,000 generations on those who love me and my commands. Now, remember, this is a conversation. Don't look at that and say, only 1,000 generations after that, he's done. His love's done. That'll be the end of the world. Gosh, if you start reading the Bible like that, you can make this say anything you want. Don't do that. Don't, dogmatic, pragmatic, whatever. You need to read this as a conversation, and I'm going to beat that into you as you watch these videos. It is a conversation. He's lavishing unfailing love for generations. On everyone? No. Those who love me and obey my commands. You are doing this study. I'm assuming you love God. You're doing the study. That makes me think you do. Okay? You wouldn't be doing it just to educate yourself. Though there are people who read it who are Muslim or anything else, and because they just want to see what it says because they think there's something secret in there. The only thing secret in here is that nothing's secret. It's about Jesus. Okay, His unfailing love, and we're going to get into this. Number 7 again comes up, so I'm going to bring this up on my list. I hope you have started your 7s list. I'm on number 6. I'm sure I probably missed 1 or 2 here. This is number 5. I'm sorry. Slaves that are to be set free in the 7th year, they can serve as a slave for 6 years, and on the 7th year they are to be set free. 21:2. If you buy a Hebrew slave, he may serve no more than 6 years. Set him free in the 7th year, and he will owe you nothing for his freedom. If he serves you for 6 years, he's free to go. Now, there's other caveats to all the different things that, he can be a slave forever. His wife is a slave. Is she free with him? Yes, he is. Unless she has children, blah, 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 blah. Lots of different side parts to this. Then we get into laws of today. We have the Ten Commandments that spurred our laws of today. Chapter 21, verses 22 through 25. Now, suppose 2 men are fighting. In the process, they accidentally strike a pregnant woman who she gives So she gives birth prematurely. If no further injury results, the man who struck the woman must pay the amount of compensation the woman's husband demands, and judges approve. Blah, blah, blah. This, we have cases of personal injury. It goes into whether or not property is hurt, and it just goes on and on and on. And we get all of our, not all, our foundation of our laws in this country is based on biblical foundations. Okay? You can't get away from it. Our founding fathers were extremely conservative, extremely into biblical understanding, and so much better than what we are. Basically, this is all they had to read, other than a few things. And but this is what we used to educate people. And amazingly, they were awesome. And now we get rid of the Bible, and people don't know right from wrong. I want to get into this last thing, verse 31. Is this one it? No, 26:15. Chapter 20. Oops. Oh, I'm sorry. 30 pieces of silver, which is chapter 21, verse 31. The same regulation applies if the ox gores a boy or girl. 32. But if the ox gores a slave, either male or female, the animal's owner must pay the slave's owner 30 silver coins, and the ox must be stoned. All right, so this is important. 30 pieces of silver comes up all the time. And if you remember, Jesus was betrayed for 30 pieces of silver. And this is a big deal. This is a slave that's been gored, put to death, gored a slave to death. And he's worth 30 pieces of silver. An adult is 30 pieces of silver. A younger person is worth 20 pieces of silver. Joseph was betrayed by his brother for 20 pieces of silver, as if he were a slave, and a young slave is worth 20 pieces of silver. Jesus, you can make the connection there. We were slaves to sin, but we are no longer slaves to sin. And Jesus paid the price for that, of what a slave would be worth, 30 pieces of silver. Judas betrayed him. And you could get into saying, well, Judas is in hell. The Bible says he's in hell. There's a ray of hope that maybe Judas isn't. Maybe he deserves to be. And I am not going to sit here and say that he is definitely in heaven. I'm just saying that Judas was remorseful about what had happened. He went back, tried to give the 30 pieces of silver back because he realized he betrayed an innocent person. It was gnawing on him. And he tried to give it back. If you read Zechariah, and there's a reference in here, Zechariah 11, 12 to 13, Zechariah was pretending to be a slave or shepherd to lost sheep. Make the connection there. And 30 pieces of silver was given for that as well. Neither here nor there, but certain special little things that are in here to make the story be a little bit better, and connections that can be made. I am not a scholar by any stretch of the imagination. I just love to do this, and hopefully you're getting something out of it. So that is day 38. We'll see you tomorrow for 39.